So I'm Norm Beal, I'm the CEO of Food and Beverage Ontario. I want to thank Tyler for having me come up last when you're all tired, thirsty, probably a little bit grumpy. That's okay, the bar is open right after this, right, Tyler? So I'll try and make mine short and sweet and as interesting as possible. I want to, I don't know if I just jumped. There we go. Food and Beverage Ontario was originally the Alliance of Ontario Food Processors, created back in about 2002. It was an organization of, it was an association of associations, and it represented really the food and beverage processing sector within Ontario, and was really set up, to be quite honest, as a counterbalance to sort of regulated marketing and supply management. Food processors wanted a voice within government that was going to at least have an opportunity to elevate the profile of the processing sector within the Ministry of Agriculture and other ministries. That didn't really work out all that well, frankly, and I think over time the relationship between processors and producers has evolved. I was involved in the very beginning and actually took away a step back from the organization for a number of years, then got re-engaged and re-involved on the board of directors in 2010. We decided that I decided at that point, I became the chairman of the board back in 2012, and decided that we needed a major restructure and refocus of the organization in terms of who we are, how we were organized, and what we represented and what we stood for. As a result of that reorganization, we basically decided that association of associations was not really what we wanted to be about. We really wanted to be direct member access, so there was no filters through associations in terms of feeding in to the organization in terms of what key priorities were in terms of addressing major government issues and that sort of thing. So we restructured the organization to a company member-based organization with a full board of directors, of course an executive committee. I'm now the chief executive officer, and we have an advisory council, which is, the advisory council is really formed of other trade associations across the province. They feed into us in terms of what their key issues are, and then we have 5 key mandates that we're addressing, 2 of which we're very active in right now, which is career development, trying to attract new young people, new Canadians into the industry. As you know, the Premier's come out with a 120,000 job challenge in our sector, both in the agri-food sector. 60,000 of those jobs will come from the food and beverage processing sector at a minimum, and what we've got to do is we make sure that we attract people into the industry. I think the industry has probably been a little bit remiss over the last couple of years in really making the industry sexy, but there are a lot of really interesting careers in the food and beverage processing sector. So that is being launched actually this month. It's being managed by Isabel Docta, who's our Director of Communications, and also this project. And then we also have something else that's really interesting, that's more in line with what you're talking about today, and that is building an innovation hub. There is all kinds of innovation activity going on across the province of Ontario. And this was an idea that myself and our board and our staff thought was something we needed to pursue. I originally talked to the Premier about this idea back when she was the Minister of Agriculture. And the first thing that came out of her mouth was, there's no way we have $100 million to go and build bricks and mortars for an innovation center in Ontario. And I said, that's great, because I don't think that's what we need. We have all kinds of innovation activity going on across the province of Ontario, but it's all siloed. It's all built in silo, and they're not talking to each other. And by the way, there's no way for small companies or mom and pop operations or even larger companies to access this innovation activity. Or they don't know about it, or they don't know where to go. And that includes everything from co-packing to innovation, the kind of innovation things that you're talking about today, or projects that we're talking about here today, to how access to government grants, to companies like MentorWorks and others. So I said what we really need is a way to build some connectivity to all of these innovation assets, and I think we can do that pretty inexpensively. So we have gone on a major project where we've done a major assessment. Tyler sits on our ITT steering committee. We've come up with an initial report that identifies numerous innovation assets across the province of Ontario. We've identified a few gaps. And now we're looking at building a proper web portal, plus possibly call center and a few other assets, so that we can actually connect everybody together and also have people that are in need of these innovation resources can easily access them. So those are the major projects that we're working on. I'm not the only one that has a problem with this, right? There we go. So who we are, over 170 members. We have members that that come from across all subsectors, and a good cross-section of small, medium, and large. We rent a very significant portion of the revenue generated in the food and beverage processing sector and the number of employees in the food and beverage processing sector. We're adding new members every day. This week, over 6 new members joined, including Spirits Canada and Pinty's. We are rolling out an investment engagement strategy. We've got over 4 regional events this year: a golf tournament, Queen's Park Day on May 2nd, our AGM conference, which will be at Steam Whistle on June 29th, and then we usually we've done our holiday social the last couple of years. Just to give you an example of who our members are, like I say, a very, very broad cross-section, a couple of which are presented here today. And I'll skip through that. You probably don't want to see that. What are we all about? What are we trying to do? I'll go back to that. We've become the go-to industry organization for companies seeking information and advice about many current industry issues, and there are a lot of them. We've developed very, very strong partnerships with key organizations to build industry consensus and to develop a coordinated, well-articulated industry policies. We partner with Ontario Chamber of Commerce, Food and Consumer Products Council of Canada, Provincial Coalition, again through our advisory committee, our industry trade associations. We also become the public voice for the food and beverage processing industry and are really the go-to for now CBC, Business News Network, a lot of local media and trade publications when there are industry issues, which, as you know, in our sector pretty much occur every day. We're actively engaged with producers to build collaborative action plans on many agri-food sectors. As I said right at the beginning of my presentation, that the relationship between producers and processors has never, in the past, it really had some things to be desired, and I think that relationship is changed, transformed dramatically. I think particularly in the last 5 years. And I was actually elected to as vice chair of the President's Council, which is a producer organization. So it's really remarkable that they would have a person that represents the food processing sector that sit at that table at the President's Council to inform on processor sectors, and also become informed on what the major producer issues are going forward. So very, very, I think, really new paradigm in terms of the relationship between producers and processors. Just a little quick on what we feel the key issues are in the state industry. There's a lot of apprehension out there right now, and certainly some anxiety on some major policy issues being put forth that will affect our industry. Regulatory burden has always been a challenge. Innovation resources, as I talked about earlier, skilled workers, and of course an outdated infrastructure affecting the competitiveness of our industry. There are several new pieces of legislation that could have a significant negative impact on our competitiveness. ORPP, Carbon Taxation, Waste Diversion Employment Standards Act, impact real changes, and one that's a common theme for everybody is electricity prices, and how we roll out many of these government policies, because they are going to be rolled out, can have a positive effect or a neutral effect on our industry, or can have a negative one. So we spend a lot of time dealing and talking with government on how they can best roll out those programs with a minimum impact on our competitiveness. There are some bright sides on the horizon right now. The weaker Canadian dollar is certainly going to help with exports, and it's going to give us a lot of opportunities in the processing sector. Lower overall energy costs with the price of crude down is going to drive hopefully some higher profits to our bottom line. We're very excited about the Trans-Pacific Partnership and the CETA agreements. We think as they roll out, they're going to create tremendous opportunities for the food and beverage processing sector within Ontario. I don't know if anybody read, there's a recent Conference Board of Canada report out that say there are 6 sectors across the country that are going to benefit tremendously by the lower Canadian dollar, and 5 of those are not related to manufacturing. There's only really one sector across the country that is going to be that will benefit by Lower Canadian Daughter in a significant way, and the other 5 are service-related industries. So it's an interesting report. I think there's a huge opportunity for our sector with in the new currency environment. And of course, the big issue that we'll all be talking about over the course of the next decade is going to be building public trust. That is on the public's mind. It's not going to go away. We've got to figure out how we're going to deal with it and how we're going to turn that into an opportunity. And that's it. I hope I didn't run too long, Tyler, and thanks very much for letting me fill you guys in.